Welcome to another episode of Unimog Shenanigans with the star, the Mogtoise. In this episode, it is very likely that we will be climbing the walls. As you can see behind me, the roof is in position and it is held in place by these uprights. There's 5 of them that are permanently there. Probably saw that in the previous episode. If you haven't seen the previous episode, please do so. It is very educational. And these braces that are temporary. The next step henceforth is that we need to make some more permanent walls. And it might sound very simple, you just put the wall up, right? But yeah, simple isn't really our flavor. If you give me a moment, I'll try to explain the challenges we have with each wall. First, the front one, there's going to be a hole in it going into the cab. Before we start building this one, we need to know exactly where the hole is going to go, what size it needs to be, and how it's going to connect to the cab. We have to wait with that one just a little bit. The driver's side of the habitat, that is going to be the kitchen side, is also a little bit problematic, but probably one of the least problematic one. We want to position the window in a good position. Problem is, we don't know where good position is yet. I might leave a big gap there where the window frame goes, and then when I know more about that situation, that's when I'll put it in. In other words, I need to leave enough space around there so that we're not doubling up on unnecessary weight and structure, and the window can still be moved around well enough so that we can actually put it in a good spot. Right, easy peasy. Here on the passenger side, the seating area side, and where the door is, we have 2 little things. As I explained on the kitchen side, we also don't know exactly where the window is going to be here. We have a larger window for this side, and we obviously want that window to be in a position where we can sit very nicely and look out over the vast views of the savannah or the mountains or whatever. Final positioning to be determined depending on seating position and height and all of those things, which we don't know yet. So again, I need to leave enough space around there for that to be adjustable but not overly structural. Easy peasy. When it comes to the front door, that's slightly more easy. All we need to know is how far forward we can or should put it, and then how far off the floor it needs to go with regards to thresholds and insulation and stuff like that. The back of the truck is probably a little bit easier. There's a few things that need to go on the back. Primarily, it is the cargo rack that needs to go up and down. So there needs to be attachment points for a frame somehow, somewhere. That can be determined later, and it is not such a big problem because we will build this strong enough. I'm also thinking that we should have a winch up at the top, so there needs to be some form of recess or something there for that. But again, I think we will have to organically put that in when we know more. With all this in mind, I think we're going to start with the rear. If you have followed along, you know that these beams here are pretty sturdy at 40 by 80 by 4, and so are these. These are the 40 by 40 by 3. But when it comes to making the uprights, we're going to go with the slightly smaller 40 by 40 in there, and then out here we're going to go with the 40 by 20. We're going to save a little bit of weight, but I still don't like using the 40 by 40 because it is just so heavy. But in this case, I think we need to sacrifice a little bit of weight for the structure. The plan at the moment for the back is that Kaz is doing some numbers based on an idea that I have, and the idea is basically that between the central uprights there's going to be a cross so that it stabilizes sideways, and we're going to build it on the table as much as we can in the garage, and then we're going to lift it up. Let's see how it goes, and yeah. No, yeah. Why do I say yeah? These here are the two central uprights, and to space them apart correctly before they get mounted, I have cut these two pieces here to the length of the distance between them. So I can tack those in place at the top and the bottom, and then we're going to weld in the reinforcement cross thingy there. Apparently this was in the manual and this is how it should be done. No, there's no manual. We don't know how to do stuff. I thought it would be best to do it this way. At least I know that they are parallel and that they fit on the truck and all that jazz, and then I can build the cross into here, and then I know that the cross will fit. So hence this design. So these are the temporary spacers. I'm going to tack them in now, and then the next bit. With the two pieces cut for the cross part, I now need to do a half lap in the center. Half lap means I'll cut half out of one and half of the other, and then I just lap it up. Kaz and I spent a long time figuring out angles and things like that, and we both agree on one thing: we don't like them. Anyway, I have now marked out the center of the cross here, and that means that I can now proceed to cutting things up. I need to cut half of that off and half of that one off. So that's the next step. I've notched the two cross pieces, and to my surprise, fits really well. Crazy. The next thing I need to do is I need to decide how far up or down it's going to go. I had initially thought that this line would stretch from the center of the truck up to the corner there. There might have been a few miscalculations on my part there regarding the height, but let's not talk about that. So I think I will instead place that in the center where the strength distribution would be equal. I'm just making this up. I'll put it in the center, I think, or roughly. It's not like we have a plan. Next step, take the cross off, put it on the table, and then measure things out, and then clean it up, and then it is time for Spattermaster 5000. Alrighty then, looks like it is time for Spattermaster 5000 to step up to the stage and rock the world. Anyway, everything here fits really nicely. The marks were mathematically calculated and put in place, and they align up. The center lines up. So yeah, nothing more to say. Whilst you were watching the previous clip, I was working here. I have now cleaned up around the uprights here, or the outriggers here. I have cleaned up and measured up there, so we should know where we need to put what. And the what in question is the cross there that we made. This here is the top, because that is flat, and that one is angled at the bottom there with 22.5 degrees. The cross is fully welded, I've made a dimple in there so that I have a good datum if I need it in the future. I had 2 of the braces here, they've been taken off, and the tack welds have been ground off. And that means that we are now ready to lift that in place there. And before I do that, I need to do some clamping and stuff like that, but hopefully it'll fit, and it'll fit really well, and then we can use the MIG welder to just attach it to there. Here Kaz is clamping the welding clamps to the roof according to my marks. We then proceed to carry the upright/cross the most complicated way to its final destination. But this is where things get a little bit more complicated, and I think it needs a bit of an explanation, even though I've explained similar situations before. When we stuck the upright/cross in between the outriggers and the roof, the lines didn't align up as measured. This naturally means that something is wrong, so pipe in hand, deerstalker on the noggin, and it's time to investigate. We need to ensure that the new piece is in its correct location, and then we need to see where the other problems are. We know that the welding squares at the top are at correct distance from the outside. We also know the distance between the outriggers at the bottom, which is obviously correct. Another thing we know is that the existing uprights are the correct length, so the roof should be at the correct height. These are the known knowns, but we have way many more unknown knowns, if you get my drift. Figuring out which unknown knowns we should ignore is the difficult part. After a lot of force and trial and error, we think we found the issue, and once we addressed it, things slotted into place. This whole debacle took us more than 1 hour. Hello! The thing is now up there. It turns out that the braces that we had on the side were bracing in the wrong way, so we cut the tack welds and things magically slotted into place. That's very nice. So now the discrepancy is about 0.3 degrees in the worst places and 0 in other places. So I'm pretty pleased about that. I managed to get it pretty much into place. We're talking about 1 millimeter, maybe 2, somewhere here and there. But I think it'll do. Yeah, for this purpose, this is good enough. So the next job obviously is, yeah, you guessed it, the MIG welder. So without further ados, with the cross in place there now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to fit the corner pieces. I've already cut them, there's one, and I'm going to use this bar as a bit of a positioner across there, so we try to get the back of the truck flat as reasonably possible. But yeah, it's going well. Next step is to get rid of the overlapping thingies here, and then clean up at the top there so that I get clean metal to weld onto, and then clamping in place and then welding. So very simple process. Lovely day, let's get on with it. I was expecting to run out of gas. I had hoped that it wouldn't run out on the first tack weld when I have clamped those in place. So now I'm going to take them back down, and tomorrow hopefully we'll get some more gas, because today is too late. So see you later. Apparently it's been a very long day. I have gas still. The trick is to turn the tap on to let the gas out, which I've now done because I thought I'd turn it off and it was already off. I think it's a good sign that I just need to weld those things and then done for today. Today's first job is to connect this stick with that stick. And there's a critical measurement here, and that is at what height the connection stick needs to be. This is critical because not only does it determine the height of the garage from floor to garage ceiling, but the garage ceiling is also known as the underside of the bed, and on top of the bed we need to be able to sit up comfortably so that we don't hit our heads. We've done that enough if you have watched previous episodes. We've done some maths, some science, and thanks to Kaz we kind of know where we should put this stick. But that is where we will begin today's adventure. No, we'll just work. With these ones in place, we still have a potential for a parallelogram here. This is just temporary. So the next step that I need to do is I need to tie this outrigger to this outrigger, which is hiding under there, to here. So a diagonal from here to here. That way this bar here will constrain the back from falling off the truck, which would be a slight disadvantage. So 2 sticks next. We now have a stick that goes like that. But obviously, this being me, things has to get complicated. This little wheel well riser thing here means that the bar can't go straight up without a little bit of notchy there. The bars have this little thing in there. That now means that I can clean up the weld surfaces and then I can weld them in. Yes, I could have welded it on top there. It would probably have been strong enough, this being 40 by 40 by 3 and the outrigger is just nearby. But then again, that wouldn't have been me, would it? So let's do it the difficult way. go. That one is now in there, tack welded quite violently apparently. I was pondering what sticks should go in next, and I think that the most useful one is going to be from there up to there, and then I'm going to counter cross it with another one. So basically make a big cross up there. So let's cut some more sticks and do some more welding. Another day, more work to be done. As you know, we're left with one diagonal of the cross, so we just need to fill in the blanks on that one. The eagle-eyed viewer might have spotted that I struggled a little bit to get the second part of the cross into place on the other side. However, whilst struggling, I also figured out a quick, easy and accurate solution. With hindsight, I'm astonished I didn't do it from the beginning. It's very simple. Just clamp a temporary full-length stick from corner to corner, then fit and clamp the two shorter pieces to the long piece, and then tack weld it all into place. Easy peasy, squeeze the lemon. So we have a cross on both sides, and whilst you were watching that, I've continued work a little bit. I'm going to put a bar from here up to there that will tie that junction with this junction, and then further up, but more about that later. I have got two pieces of the stronger 2mm bar, and it's gonna go there like that. So I'm gonna clamp that and tack weld that next. I hope you can see it, but I think that the majority of the hind quarters there are now done. I think that that is now structurally sound. We might have to add some more stuff, and there's a few finesses for future things that we need to add and so forth. But for now, I think we can leave it alone. We can then focus on other parts. I'm thinking that fixing that bit there would be good, and then fixing the door. We still have these temporary braces in. They are not very useful for bracing anymore, but they are super useful for locating the window frames, so I'm going to keep them in for now. But yes, I think it looks pretty cool, and yeah, that's a lot of walking up and down. So when we call this the grown-ups climbing frame, you know what we talk about. Right now we're both knackered. Cass still got some energy, so she's gonna do some more magic. I need to quit before I collapse here. Productive day. Do you need a shower?
I don't know how much it's in the mirror.
I think you should wipe your face a little bit. Sorry boys and girls, but after a bit of debate, we've decided to chop this episode in 2 parts. I'd love to know if you think we've done the right decision. A single 1 hour 15-minute episode or 2 shorter ones. What do you think? Let us know in the scribble box. We do hope you'll be back for the second part of this, and in fact, we'd love to see you tag along to the end. Thanks for watching.